Big Mama's house. Big Mama's house. Welcome to Big Mama's house. Big Mama's house. Yeah. Big Mama's house. Welcome to Big Mama's house. Big Mama's house. Yeah.
Back to Big Mama's house, y'all. Mama and Lizard are here with you today to talk about Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 5.
Sorry we're late. It's totally my fault.
So, we are late, and I put some posts up in some of the social media, but the reason we are so late this week is because poor Lizard was in the hospital with diabetic ketoacidosis, which is very, very dangerous. And so that was very scary. And she's feeling much better. And if you want to say anything else about it?
Make sure you keep taking your insulin, and just because something isn't comfortable, I fully admit I did not take my Dexcom as much as I should. And while it was caught, it's set off by being ill. It's something you do not want to take even slightly bit less seriously than it is. I was in the hospital for days throwing up.
Yeah, it was awful. So if you are diabetic, please take care of yourself. It is very scary for that to happen. So please take care of yourselves, y'all.
Also, sorry about my throat. If I sound scratchy today, I literally had like an endoscopy yesterday. Everything's fine, but I do have some damage from throwing up a lot, so apologies in advance.
We love you and we understand, don't we, everybody? Okay, so welcome everybody. If you're new, we follow the show exactly how it goes, so it bounces between person to person. So we try to follow along just in case, we like to just follow along the way the show goes. So it opens with Cody, and it's Cody and Robin's turn to visit McKelty, Tony, Avalon, Ace, and Archer, who are fraternal twins or newborns. And Avalon wouldn't hug Cody because she doesn't know him. This is Maddie's point with her kids. So, yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Right, and McKelly is supposed to be the one that he talks to all the time. And I immediately noticed that. He's like, come here, and the little girl who wanted everyone's attention cried the previous episode because she did not have everyone's attention, did not know him enough to want to give him anything, but get close to him. She was literally holding on to her mom.
And she like barely even wanted to give him a fist bump. So it's like this kid doesn't know him at all. They don't like she doesn't even know him from like a video chat.
Right? And again, like it's easy to tell about again how Troy is treating even his grandkids, even with all the stuff he's freaked up right now.
I agree. And Cody says he sees something special in McKelty, and he really likes Tony and wants them all to live together in a big house because Cody still has big house dreams of, this giant house where there's room for everybody to come together.
Including Christine, Janelle, and Mary. I mean, they're supposed to be part of your family too. They're the mother of your children. Would you let them come over?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
But I think he means his kids, but whatever.
But you know what I mean. He has this big house dreams, but only with the people he wants in his house.
But that's because everything in Cody's world is all about Cody. So we find out that McKelty is eating her placenta and says it helps with postpartum depression. And she ate her first one with Avalon raw.
I would point out there is no medical science behind this. This is purely like it's more of a wise.
Google it.
I did Google it. This is it's not proven. There is no proven studies or anything like that eating your placenta after giving birth will help reduce postpartum depression and anything like that. And that's because postpartum depression is caused by hormone changes by giving birth. You eating the raw placenta is not going to change that part. It might give you some protein, but
it will help with the exhaustion and possible anemia and all that. But
you could also eat a chicken sandwich from the cafeteria.
But Robin says that she did it first, and that's why McKelty is doing it, because of course Robin takes credit for everything. And there was a rumor that polygamists would pass babies around to different moms for breastfeeding, like in a circle, like just pass the babies around. And Christine says that was just a joke she made a long time ago. But Mary says that she did breastfeed another mom's baby for medical reasons because it was medically necessary.
It was Janelle, actually.
It was probably Janelle because I know she had a C-section, I think, right?
Well, yeah, and Janelle even says right after that she couldn't produce enough milk for her kids, and so again, like in that point of, again, you're all mothers. At that point, it makes sense. They weren't just passing around kids just to breastfeed. That's not
Well,
what.
that's very common. It's called a wet nurse. Anytime a mother couldn't produce milk or was ill or, something like that,
But yeah,
they would have a woman come in who was nursing and would feed the babies. This was, of course, in the days before formula. But even now, they have, like, I know at Mercy Hospital, they have the breast milk donation thing for babies who maybe their mothers can't produce milk or maybe they don't have a mother, you know.
yeah,
So that's very, very common. And I know they even sell, I don't know if it's legal now, but I know that once upon a time they even sold it online.
yeah.
So I just don't, I mean, I think it would be strange to sit around and just switch babies around. But on the other hand, again, it's very natural. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, the whole thing about it that I noticed is that Christine's like, "Oh, that was a joke," and then Mary and Janelle were like, "Yeah, it happened, but like it was for medical necessity reasons. We weren't just passing around the kids just to get them like a different taste of breast milk." And then Robin was like, "Oh no, we totally did that," like the delusional person she is.
Well, no, she said that she saw it happen a lot in their community, but it wasn't for fun. Again, it was for either moms didn't have enough milk or someone was ill or something like that. It wasn't for funsies.
But like, from what I know, is that she didn't actually grow up in a plural marriage, was she? I thought her mom was just like the side chick.
Well, she were considered plural marriage, and they grew up in the plural community,
Okay.
so they saw all the other polygamous families.
Okay, but it wasn't like, because from what I could tell from hearing about her growing up is that she didn't actually grow up around, she may grow up around polygamous marriage, but she didn't grow up in a polygamous family, from what I can tell. Like it was very separate.
Well, my personal opinion, I have no, based on the research that I have done, I think the mom was the side chick, but the dad told the mom that she was his second wife, but he kept them completely separate and hidden from his first family. So let's be real.
That's not polygamy.
And then when they broke up, he just completely ditched them like they never existed.
So yeah, not a polygamous marriage, just, you live next door to the polygamist.
But that's what she calls it to make it look good.
Well, of course, it was her childhood. Of course, she doesn't want to think about the fact that her. And she even mentions about how Cody, she did in the previous episode, she didn't want him to end up like that. She didn't want to end up like not talking to any of his kids, just like her dad did.
Exactly. And I know what that feels like. Cody, he loves the babies, but he couldn't care less about Avalon, who's 5 feet away. She's sitting on like 5 feet away, looking, just hanging out, watching all the adults with the babies and stuff, being chill. And like, yeah, sniffing the baby's head, saying they smell sweet and they're delicious and all this stuff. Anyway, but he couldn't care less about his granddaughter, who he actually can interact with. And that's because he only cares about the ones who he can do that adoration, that love, and he doesn't have to actually do anything.
And unlike who's the youngest one with an A, Robin's kid?
Ariella?
Ariella is obsessed with her dad. As they put out that she would she would cry when he would leave, and Avalon did not do that. You could tell he was probably expecting like, Grandpa's here, and she's like, who the frick is this guy? Like I know that lady. That's Grandma because
She was just there.
right. And it's so crazy about how they treated the wives. But you can tell Cody wasn't ever a part of that family dynamic.
No, he was just a visitor.
Yeah.
And then Christine says, quote, all the kids should take a page out of McKelty's book. She's not afraid to ask for what she needs. Do you agree?
Honestly, I feel like it's more of anyone in the family who's willing to let go of things and let Cody just run over them is allowed to be in his life.
Well, you know my opinion on things, and I've told you guys this about your biological father, especially Mallow, for many years. You have to either accept, I'm talking about someone who's like a close family member. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't accept them and acknowledge like this is just who they are, this is what they do, and I'm okay with it, and I can just not be hurt, just not be hurt by it, or you're gonna be like, I cannot take this level of pain in my life on a constant basis, and I have to walk away. And that's okay too. You have to have boundaries. I had to walk away from my biological mother, and it was necessary for my mental health. And we're just toxic together. We just, it just doesn't work.
Well, your mother's also an alcoholic who refuses to admit she was an alcoholic for your entire childhood and was an abusive, deadbeat mom.
I don't know, a deadbeat, but all the rest was true.
Well, let's be honest. Did she actually take time? Yeah, like the whole thing with Cody. The moment they stopped, just giving in to whatever he wants, they're not important in his life. They're not loyal.
And then they show Christine dating David, and I think it's stupid because they're already married now, and they actually just had their first anniversary on October 7th. So happy anniversary, Christine and David. We're so very happy for you.
Congratulations. Hopefully this one will last much longer and better.
Exactly. All the happiness. But again, they're married, and so I think the show showing all them dating still is just filler, and it's lazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
Gabe and Janelle are talking, and he's been in counseling at his university, which is awesome. I'm so glad that most colleges and universities have some sort of counselor to help their students.
And this is going to be really weird for me to point out, but I had to because they're making eggs and they're making food for themselves. And they asked, like, hey, how do you want your eggs? You want it soft or hard? And apparently, Cody has a very particular way he wants his eggs done. You can't flip his eggs. Apparently, you have to cook it with the lid on, no flipping his eggs, and then he wants a hot water with lemon every time he goes out to eat. And Gabriel was the one who pointed all this out, like, he's very particular. And I'm like, so he is a creature of habit who doesn't want any change.
Well, I mean, there's one thing about knowing what you want, and another of just being, if you want to be that particular, maybe you should learn how to do it yourself.
Well, also, it definitely shows about how his own relationships. Again, everything stays the same, so it's okay. But when it changes, it's not. It's not okay for him.
And part of that is Cody hasn't had much contact with Janelle's kids since COVID. And at this point, it's probably been 2 years, and that's awful. And Cody texted Gabe and ended up saying, I forgive you, please forgive me. And Gabe's like, for what? What did I do? I just had boundaries for myself and stepped back whenever you were being toxic to the entire family, and I couldn't deal with it anymore.
I'm sorry. I also felt so bad for Gabriel because I kept thinking about Garrison the whole time.
I know. I'm the whole time, and I'm just like, oh, they have no idea what's coming so soon because this is leading up to Christmas, and then in March, it's like, oh.
And Jill even says that Gabriel was always the one who's able to think things through, and he's going to therapy, and you're like, how's Garrison doing? And he's not doing well, but you can hear that his brother's going to therapy, he's doing his best, but Garrison's always been the more sentimental one between the two of them. And it just hurts my heart because I know it's already been like 8 months since Garrison passed, and
it's only been like 6 months, I think.
But again, like, it's a bit of a long amount of time right now, but at the point of the show, this hasn't happened yet. Janelle and Gabriel had no idea at this point in time what was going to happen to them.
Yeah, and that was on my mind the entire time too. And it was just, as a mom, it's really hard to watch. And she's talking about how her kids, how hard they're taking it and all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God.
And she points out, and they both her and Gabriel point out, is that he stopped talking to them when Janelle stopped feeding into all this stuff. Again, she changed, so her I don't want to say followers because that's what Cody wants. He just wants followers.
Yeah.
And that's what he thinks they are for Janelle and Christine, because the rest of the wives consider their kids, while he considers them his little minions to always be happy with what he does.
Just take it into heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe said, quote, if he can't change and take accountability, I just can't talk to him again. And again, boundaries. You have to have that for your own mental safety, emotional safety. And Cody and Gabe had been really close until COVID. Even when he was a kid, Cody would take him on business trips and things, and they were always hanging out and doing stuff. And I remember, like, all the episodes, it was wherever Cody was around, Gabe was trying to follow him,
And then I'm sorry, I just thought about this because if he's messaging Gabriel about this, he has to be messaging the other, at least some of the other kids, right?
No, I remember last episode we was having the big talk with Robin.
Oh,
And he said that he was only really texting Gabe because the rest of them, like, hate him or whatever.
which isn't true. They're just upset with you, and you have no emotional maturity.
Exactly. Janelle wants to know, does Cody want them to follow patriarchy, all the kids? It's like what is he expecting now? Like, what the kids don't know what his expectations are. And Cody's like, no, he was just angry when Christine left, and that's why he said he was going to go to patriarchy and whatever. And again, I understand you say stupid stuff in the heat of the moment when you're emotional and, but you have to also have the emotional maturity to say, hey, sit down with everyone and say, hey, I wasn't thinking right. I didn't really mean that. Nothing's going to change. I'm sorry. That's all it would have taken. But of course, Cody's an idiot. Anyway, the family feels that Cody prioritized Robin during COVID, exactly, and are angry about the favoritism, which we've all seen it for 20 years, whatever. And Cody says, quote, I love my wife. I love my children. Wait a minute. I thought he never loved them.
Right? Like, he's been saying this whole big thing of like, oh, well, I realized I never actually loved, especially Mary, the whole, like, he's very convinced and making everyone knows that he actually never loved Mary. It was, and again, like, he says, like, I never said I never loved my wives. And then, again, you get these clips of him saying, I never loved them.
Yeah, he contradicts himself on a regular basis.
Again, emotional maturity to just talk to your kids.
And memory problems, like he doesn't remember conversations, he doesn't remember the own shit he says. It's like, does he have some sort of dementia? Like, I don't understand.
Or there's a very good saying for this: the tree remembers what the axe forgets. And that it's supposed to mean that when the axe hits the tree, well, the axe will forget it when they go to the next tree. That tree will always have that mark for the rest of its life.
Dude, that's deep. I like that. Back to the show though. Cody said COVID made him afraid and hostile. Well, and that lasted for a really fucking long time. So that's not an excuse. You're just making excuses now, and we're not buying it. And Cody says that everything about him is a misunderstanding and then became gossip. And it was just an opportunity. Oh, sorry. The kids, all of them believed that it was just an opportunity to become monogamous with Robin. And, COVID was just, a great, reason to kind of push everyone else away.
Which he did.
Exactly. I know his plan worked.
And the thing is, though, even before COVID, we saw that he was always angry, and then you have to bring up how always angry he was. And now it's even before COVID.
Because he only wanted to be with Robin. He didn't want to deal with the other wives and all their nonsense and all the other kids. He just wanted Robin and the people in his house.
Yes, and that's the thing about it. Like, you may say that COVID ruined things, but you were already tearing things apart before that even started.
And whether it was consciously or unconsciously, doesn't matter. He still needs to go back, watch every episode in a row like we do, and see, and actually like comprehend what he's doing.
Okay, Cody, if you're listening, I would like you on the podcast right now. I need you on the podcast for an interview right now. I need to ask questions, and we need to go. We're gonna have like a 4-hour long where Mama goes over every single note she's ever gone through and just point out.
That would be more than 4 hours.
But you know what I mean. I've like just come up, bring proof, and being like, okay, you said this. What did you mean by it then? If you
there are dozens and dozens of videos out there, like on YouTube and everything, about people showing like him saying, "I never loved my wives," and then another clip saying, "I love my wives," and just showing the contradictions he does. So absolutely 100%, that's out there, and we can share it. We'll find some and share them on our page.
But will he look at it without being forced to?
I would love him to sit down and watch all those things with a therapist, so that like maybe someone he trusts that can point out and that he will actually like believe it, you know?
And this is going to sound really weird, but people with narcissistic personality disorders, they're still mentally ill. I'm not saying that's an excuse for things they do to other people, but they're still mentally ill, and they can have get better and actually learn to actually realize their own problems and tendencies with a therapist.
And to acknowledge that other people exist and that their needs and wants matter beyond just Robin and her kids. So, after the second commercial, we find out that Mary met with the church leader, or the leaders of her church, and they granted her a release from Cody and their sealing. She was kind of sad about it, but also like it was just kind of a relief, I think, for her because she was rid of him, but that was 32 years of her life. She got married when she was 19. I mean, that is her whole adult life, like she said, and you can't get that back.
No. And the thing is, I thought it was funny because Cody talked about how he got a call from the church letting him know, and he's like, I don't really want to talk about what they said. And then Mary, you're like, they said that they granted it on abandonment, which he did. And I'm like, thank you, Mary. Thank you for just being the source of light in this. Because again, like Cody was like, I'm not gonna get into it. It doesn't matter. And Mary's like, no, it does matter. He abandoned me.
Well, I'm sure there were other, because he said there were several things that they told him that upset him, and he didn't want to talk about it. So we don't know what else they might have said to him. So I'm just maybe there was a long list of crap. They're like, listen, you need to straighten your crap.
So, like, have you watched your show recently?
You're making us look bad. But then Cody blames Robin that he waited so long to get rid of Mary because she kept saying, well, maybe it'll change. Maybe things will get better. And so of course it's never Cody's fault. Robin said that Cody was, quote, emotional and shed tears over Mary.
Delusional.
But Cody says he's relieved and, quote, Mary was never loyal to me. What does loyal mean to you, Cody?
32 years isn't loyalty? Her staying all that time isn't loyalty? The fact is that you are the one who keeps saying, I don't want you in my life. I don't want to be married to you. Isn't you not being loyal?
Right? Hello. But Mary said he's not being honest about their marriage and she's really upset by it.
Did you notice?
And I don't blame her because you can't spend that much time with someone and tell them for so long that you love them and all this stuff and do so much for someone and then to find out that they never loved you and they talk so much trash about you. I would burn him to the ground. That's me though. I'm petty and I would. But Cody said, or Mary said that she hasn't told anyone about the divorce, but Cody told Janelle about the spiritual release.
Of course he did.
And she said, good, I didn't even know we were eligible because we're no longer part of the community. And she wouldn't even know who to talk to anymore because it's been so long since they've had anything to do with the church.
Yeah, and like Janelle, like Christine, is pretty much done with poly marriage, I think. Or if she does find one, it's not going to be, again, I don't think she's going to be getting into any relationships. I can't see.
I mean, Janelle?
Yeah, I can see her getting into like situationships.
Oh no, she said she would happily be in another polygamous relationship.
I mean, but also I have to say, probably Mama didn't notice, but Mary was playing with her dog in the yard with the snow, and I immediately noticed he looked a lot like our little buddy Rascal. And Mary, as also an owner of a very small fluffy dog, that is a good boy, good girl. I don't know the gender of her dog.
Either way, good pupper.
Good pupper.
So yeah, Janelle and Christine don't feel the need for a release or didn't at the time, so they because they don't care much about what the church thinks. And Robin just really wants her and Cody and Mary to still be friends, and I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
She has no other friends. She has no one. She relied on the other sister wives to take all the other emotional baggage from Cody, and now she's his only therapist. She's also the therapist for her children, who have been also fed lies and manipulation by Cody that the other children don't like them.
And isolated.
So I honestly think she's having a mental breakdown. She's stuck with Cody, the narcissistic, manipulative person who's also blaming her for staying with apparently Mary for too long. Also, her kids are upset with how the rest of the family's going on, so she's also trying to help them deal with all this stuff.
Robin, you need to come on the show right away because I would love to talk to you about why you are so codependent and allow him to behave this way because it's not okay.
It really isn't, and I'm not a Robin apologist. I am not one to say that she did not start all this, but I don't blame her for wanting to keep that attention at first. I mean, she got divorced. Her kids needed a father and new family. She probably felt like she was getting a lot for doing very little.
Just spreading her legs. That's all she was doing at first. So after the third commercial, we're back with Janelle and Gabe. And they said that Cody sees Savannah every couple of months and she's okay with it, but the boys aren't. But she says that her brothers will walk her down the aisle, not Cody.
Ooh.
And Gabe says that Robin has a victim complex and he misses her kids and doesn't blame them for following their mom, because that's what he would do,
Because unlike Cody's kids are actually smart because they were raised by, the wives.
And, let them be independent thinkers. And Janelle said, my kids are leery of Robin because she twists situations to suit her. And we've seen it a little bit. And from their perspective, I think maybe it's more Cody than Robin because he's so desperate to defend her and protect her and, take care of her that he does everything he can to make her, happy. That it just completely,
overrides what she actually wants, which was, again, I think the plural marriage. Again, she wanted that big family.
She wanted someone else to work and help take care of her kids so that she could just, be the trophy wife.
And also that she wouldn't have to deal with all the emotional stuff that Cody obviously is dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, she liked only having a husband around a couple days a week. So Gabe says, and this is a long quote, so bear with me. Quote, if Robin thinks if we mistreated her or her kids when she was constantly being favored by Dad and we were always working on our relationship with her kids, if she actually believes that, then there's no chance of me having a relationship with Robin ever again. And I'm like, that is exactly right. Because if someone can't acknowledge that they were wrong or that they made a mistake or whatever, you can't trust that person because you never know. Because again, there's no honesty between you. There's no real truth.
It's just gaslighting, and it makes.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's just gaslighting, and when someone's gaslighting, they're gonna make you feel crazy. And even with all this proof we have on TV, they deny it. They deny, and so
they're deflect, and it's someone else's fault.
So unless they go to therapy and someone just basically force them to admit that they've made bad choices, which is what all the kids want. They just want them to admit they didn't.
Accountability. That's all they want.
Right? They would totally be okay with having a relationship with their father,
who they love,
and their I guess just stepmom at this point, and step siblings, because again they're supposed to be a family, and they're okay with being a family as long as they take accountability that everything they did was for the good of everyone.
Okay, and I'm going to say something that I know is not going to be popular, but I don't think that it's Robin who is the twister. You know what I mean? I think that's mostly Cody. I think that she is a greedy bitch. I think she will take all the money and just make herself completely happy and not worry about the financial situation of their lives. But when it comes to Cody, she was happy to share him. She did not want the other wives to go. I think she did want that sister-wife relationship and never really had one, except for Mary, who they mistreated horribly.
Yeah.
So it's just, like they keep saying, it's just a mess. So, as usual, Cody defends Robin from what Gabe said. He says her last two conversations with Janelle was Robin begging Janelle to have a relationship with her. And he says that Janelle is a, quote, relationship coward. What do you think about that?
I think Cody doesn't know what he wants in a relationship other than Robin.
I don't know. I don't think she's a relationship coward. I think Janelle is a specific kind of person. She's very inverted. She's not emotional, usually. She's more logical and thinks and is a thinker. And I get that. That's not being a relationship coward. That's just who she is. And again, if you can't accept her and for who and what she is, it's time to walk away.
But again, even if they said, like, okay, let's have a relationship, he would demand they apologize to Robin. He would. He would demand they, okay, but you have to apologize to Robin for being a dick to her. He wouldn't have Robin apologize for anything.
Well, Robin doesn't even want an apology and never did. He was the one pushing that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of this stuff with the kids, it's his doing, not hers. And she just wants everybody to be okay so that she can keep raking in the dough. You know what I mean?
And
that's her only concern. She doesn't care about all this other nonsense. She'll happily let them treat her like crap as long as she keeps living like the Queen of Sheba. That's my opinion.
And I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Well, right. Gabe says, I don't have a lot of respect for Robin, so it's hard for me to rationalize some of her actions. Gabe, okay, we've seen the show, and I don't know if we've seen obviously everything there is to see. I'm sure there are tons and tons and tons of things that went on behind the scenes,
or footage that never got released,
right? Or when they weren't filming that happened that we don't know about. So, what are some of those actions that you are referring to? Those specific things that she does are the things that I would want to know about because they don't really show those things on the show.
But also, she also made a point of saying that she didn't feel safe with Garrison or Gabriel in her house during COVID. She's the one who actually said that. She did not feel safe. And she could have been referring to just COVID of them,
She meant their anger.
But again, like,
and hostility.
When you're in a family, there's going to be that. You're not going to get along with everybody all the time. When we live together and we don't get along all the time.
But yeah, it's true. But most of the time we do.
You got to have the ability to be able to communicate and talk to figure out the answers to problems rather than kicking out your kids and saying, oh, you're not being good to my wife.
Well, no, the reason they were going to kick the boys out was because they weren't following the COVID rules and were going out and working and seeing friends on things. And so he couldn't go there anymore because he was afraid of getting it in case they picked it up and then they would take it back to the other families. So that was his reason for why he wanted to kick them out of Janelle's house during COVID. And he even said that that was his biggest regret. The whole thing was that he tried to kick them out and that he didn't go to Isabel's surgery.
But has he ever admitted that to them? I don't think so.
Well, no, because I don't know if Isabel still talks to him or not. I know she was talking to him, but yeah, whether he told them that he was sorry, I have no idea. Probably not.
Because we've seen with Mary, he said a lot of things behind the scenes.
But not to her.
Yeah, but not to Mary. So, like, you can say all you want in these private interviews or to Robin, but unless you're discussing these with the people or you're having issues with, it's doing nothing. It's just laziness.
So then Janelle says that he uses triangulation, ego stroking, and manipulation. And otherwise, if you don't, then you're out. Now, I had to Google what triangulation meant because, you know, I'm not an encyclopedia. But in psychology, triangulation is a term used to describe when a person uses threats of exclusion or manipulation. Its goal is to divide and conquer. A form of manipulation, triangulation involves the use of indirect communication, often behind someone's back. And obviously, we all know what ego stroking and manipulation are. So, what do you think? Do you think that that's Cody's requirement of his kids in order to be on his good side?
Honestly, it's what he did during COVID. Exactly what he did. He divided everybody, and he kept the people who he wanted to close to him, and he kept them from having contact with others, and the others who were angry at him didn't have contact with him because they weren't safe. And again, exactly, he used manipulation and to basically divide everybody.
I agree. And Gabe said he wants a relationship with her kids again and he misses them. And he also said that he sat down with Cody face to face and told him that he's the one hurting the family, no one else. And Cody replied that he's not loyal, just like his mother. So,
Wow.
yeah, that I was just like, and as a mom, I would have been like, okay, I'm fine with that because you're right. I'm your ex-wife, and there's a reason for that. So yeah, I don't want to be loyal to you anymore.
No, and Janelle actually says that. She even tells him like, "Don't worry about it. I don't care what he says about me." Like she's immediately like, "It's okay," because you could tell Gabriel, while he's keeping a kind of a cooler head about stuff with him,
And she's not that emotional.
right? So it's just like, dude, you are freaking up on all the levels. Your kids are upset because you treat their mothers like crap, and then you say stuff like that to your kids and say, "Oh, I never said anything bad about their mother."
But then Cody says that conversation never even happened.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like, what? So that's what I'm saying. He either he's got a memory problem, it's selective memory. I don't know. Or God forbid Gabe is just delusional, but let's hope that's not the case. But I believe that Cody is just has selective memory and only remembers the crap that he wants to remember.
Also, as I said before, the tree remembers what the axe forgets. And as someone who's also in therapy, even the little, even like everyone knows, Mama and Papa, great people, but even Mama has admitted she did not make the best choices for every single decision, and that's you can't do that. No one's perfect. No one can see the future. No one can go back in time, go reset to a load save, and be like, okay, I'm gonna make this choice instead to make everything better. But the thing is, though, that Mama and Papa ex- realize that and they accept it. They said, okay, yeah, I realize that we could make these choices different. We can't go back in time, but we love you and we did the best we could. Cody can't say that. Cody can't say he did the best he could because he loved them.
Every decision we made was made out of love and at what we thought was best with the information that we had at the time.
Cody just thought of love with his dick.
Ooh, hello. But Cody says that he reached out several times to Gabriel and was rejected. I would love to see that those texts. Prove to me what was what, because there's a lot of he said, she said going on, and it's real easy to show the receipts, y'all. And we're in the middle of the country where the show me state is, so show me, show me the proof. And Janelle said she's not sure if reconciliation is possible for Cody and the older kids. So
Yeah, he's freaked up a lot.
he really has. So after the fourth commercial, it's Christmas Eve, 1 a.m., and Robin is sad because she was talking about when she received her testimony of plural marriage, and she's crying. And then just to show off her big rock, like her new wedding ring.
I saw that too.
And she has on so much jewelry in the interview.
But she's like crouched in the bathroom trying to be quiet. Like she's like, I'm like,
But if you notice, on the Christmas Eve one, where she's filming herself, no big rock. But after that, after Christmas, big rock, lots of jewelry.
yes, I guess Christmas was good for you this year, actually.
Right? She says that she lost her identity and she can't see her future now. And Cody says it just wasn't meant to be and you need to get over it. There's no Mary for Christmas because she says Cody never loved her, so why did he even start all this, the plural marriage with her? And they're all reminiscing on past Christmases when the kids were little and they were all together, one big happy family. Cody said, this has been a real struggle on mine and Robin's relationship, and that's all I care about. And then again, we noticed that there was no big rock on Robin's ring Christmas Eve, but was it a Christmas gift? I don't know.
I don't know. He seems like a person who thinks that giving things like monetary objects, it should be the same thing as love,
I think that might be his love language.
which isn't everybody's. And it seems like his kids really want quality time with their dad.
Right? Because you know me, I'm a time person. I don't buy me a gift. Take me out to lunch or to dinner, and we'll go hang out and talk. You know, let's
Right.
go to the park and just chill out and watch the ducks and talk. You know, communicate with each other, just getting to know each other, keeping that relationship going and strong.
Right? And you don't have to buy anything. Make a couple sandwiches, or like we'll just go hang out.
You know, make a picnic.
Right? Like nothing has to be expensive to show that you care.
Exactly. Amen. So at the end, Robin says, "This isn't what I expected my life to be. Prayer is the only thing keeping my head above water. With all my rock and my giant house and all my cars and ATVs and
The sign in their house, remember?
not anymore." After, yeah, by the way, y'all, they took the house off the market after Christine filed her child support order. So yeah, that's some info. And also a little bit of tea for you guys here if you've hung out with us this long. Um, on, sorry, my phone decided to go to sleep on me. Uh, so on E! News Online, there is an interview. It shows that McKelty is not all that happy with her dad right now. She said, quote, "I think if he took more accountability in any of his actions, his kids, maybe not all of them, but at least some of them, would reach out. Instead of blaming the children or blaming how they feel about his relationship with his other wife, or blaming the parents or blaming gossip or whatever, if he just said, 'Look, I understand I did blank wrong. I'm sorry. Can we talk about it?' I feel like that would go such a long way." Oh my God, is that not what we've been saying this whole time?
Right? I'll let you all know that I didn't read this interview until Mom just popped it up. By the way, E-News, what's with all the ads? Stop it. What is going on?
I had to pause so that I could like close all the ads, and then it freaking froze my phone, tried to redo it anyway. So there's a little bit more here. As she says, for example, she cited how Cody calling his and Janelle's daughter Madison Brush a quote gossip on the show led to a great deal of animosity. "They're purposefully leaving me out of their lives to punish me for a crime I did not commit," Cody said. "I am only guilty of not falling madly in love with their mothers." Well, Madison actually called Janelle and said, "Dad said he didn't love you." And McKelty expressed her anger at Cody's comments. She said, "I can understand why everybody's frustrated and why Maddie snapped, because he threw Maddie under the bus hard. No matter what happens between myself and my kids, I would always sit outside that door, knock, apologize, and ask and ask and ask, and just continue to try to do whatever I could to make that relationship stronger," she said. And after Cody noted that he had no plans to, quote, beg his children to forgive him amidst their fallout over the past few years. "I feel like that's just what you do as a parent. Sometimes you just have to take the knife in the kidney, get over it, and apologize." She added that the way in which Cody speaks about his children as a whole on the show is harmful.
And I have to point out that just in the previous episode, we see Robin basically saying, "You need to do this, you need to do this," but we know that was added after. It's very obvious it was added after, and I feel like they took inspiration from how McKelty was talking.
Maybe, yeah, because I'll have to look when I'm done here to see when it was posted. So McKelty continues, "When he blankets statements like this, it hurts every single one of his kids. He's had past episodes blanket statements, and it hurts me, even though I know it wasn't about me." And we all know that she's previously been all about Cody and especially Robin. She said, quote, "If you're the common denominator that people have problems with," she said, "it's probably not them, it's you." Is that not what I have been saying forever? And McKelty says his continual remarks will only prolong the estrangement. When you put things out there on the show like this, there's no taking it back, she said. When you put things on the show like this, you're screwed. Maddie has seen this episode now. Maddie's pissed. That door is slammed, locked, and it will be slammed forever unless he makes a statement on the show and condemns what he said. Well, McKelty, thank you for agreeing with us and saying what we've been saying forever, and for finally coming to your senses about what is actually happening in your family.
And here's the thing, she was very aware of what's going on in the family from the beginning. But again, it's hard to let go of a parent. Anyone who has, again, like they spent their entire lives like revolving around Cody. Again, literally revolving around Cody. And now that they're adults and getting boundaries and saying, hey, we're not children who you can just, come in and out whenever you want. We want an actual relationship with you. And you need to admit that you made a mistake. And he's like, how dare you say I made mistakes? How dare you say I never loved your mother, even though I said that 5 times?
You're not loyal.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so this article was posted on October 11th, so about a week ago. So yeah, I'm glad that she finally figured out that we know what we're talking about.
Well, but she also apparently talked about this in September on her Patreon. Because I remember hearing about this on Reddit. By the way, there's a Sister Wives Reddit if you want some more information on it. And she talked about this on her Patreon, and that's where it all came. That's how people found out that she is no contact with Cody and Robin, and that's why she didn't know that they were moving.
Because of something that was said or done at the funeral by one of them. I'm not sure which one did it or what that happened or was said that made them all so angry that even McKelty and Tony went no contact. But
it might be bad.
Yeah. It's all messy. I feel horrible for all of them.
She was holding on to that relationship with her dad for dear life. Like her own child, we see it with Avalon, didn't even know him, but she was like, oh, hey, here's your grandpa, and here's your grandkids. She was, again, like, it's so sad to see these kids try. And you could say, like, how could, like he's a bad person, but when it's your parent, it's when your family member, everything's a little different.
And it hurts.
It hurts a whole lot worse.
And that's exactly why Maddie cut him out, because she's like, you're not going to do that to my kids. You're not going to pop in and out every couple of years after no communication in between and expect to be grandpa, and they're scared of you because they don't know you. That's not right. So I don't blame her as a parent. Unless you live, now, I don't know, like when my in-laws live in like 1,000 miles away, and so whenever you guys were little, communication was very different. It was mail or phone calls. That was all we had. So, like, we didn't get to the texting and, like, video chats until much more recently, until you guys were teenagers. And, by then you'd already known them and known about them, so it wasn't a new thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how. It's hard when grandparents live in different states, but
they have money, and that's the whole thing about it. Like, they're healthy, they have money. And the issue with our grandparents is that they're not healthy. They don't have money. We're not rich people. We're not, as everyone knows, we're not exactly medical wise have the best health history. Our family medical history is more like a DMV in terms of conditions.
You remember those giant black twisted dead looking trees that in like all like the old like horror movie kind of thing?
Like Poltergeist?
That's our family tree.
Sorry, there's too much going wrong with us to survive any longer than the haunted house area.
Also, they left to go visit their grandkids, okay? Their son and daughters, niece and nephews. Where was their kids? Where was Solomon and Ariella?
Right.
Where were they? Why can't you take them? They're school age. They're old enough to go on a short little, what do you call it, road trip and visit for a couple of days. They're old enough.
Well, that's not a controlled environment where they control who can come in, who can see them, what they can say around their kids.
It just frustrates me. It frustrates me annoying because when you guys were little, we didn't have grandparents who would watch you guys or take care of you or anything. So whenever we went somewhere, you guys went somewhere. And this was an absolute emergency. So I just don't get it. But anyway, you guys, before we leave, we are dedicating this entire season to suicide prevention. If you know yourself or someone else needs mental help, please, on your cell phone, you can call 988 to talk to anyone at the suicide hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in English or Spanish. Or if you're not a talker and you would prefer to text, please do pound 988 and you can text with someone. Or if you don't know what pound is, it's the hashtag or the number symbol, whichever way you know it. But please, we all know what it's like to be depressed and suicidal. Some of us here have even attempted suicide. So we understand, and we are glad that we survived. We are glad to be here today, and I think you will be too. So please, please don't be afraid to reach out because people do care.
And on a lighter note, you know, we're not taking this insensitively, but just on a lighter note, I would like some comments. Papa has been a little sad. He had been in the hospital for 3 days. He'd like some comments. What do you think of the ads on news stories? We'll put a link in the little information below this video, but so you can actually go onto the website and see the 12 ads that pop up the moment you join. But also, let us know what you think about the placenta thing. Do you have a history? Did you eat your placenta? Did you not? Do you know someone who did? Please let us know. Papa likes hearing you guys.
Yeah, it was his birthday, and then right after that, we had the poor lizard in the hospital, and he was he didn't sleep for like 30 hours, and then he came home and couldn't sleep, and he had a rough couple of weeks. So if you guys could just, give him a shout out or whatever. Anyway, we hope to see you guys again next time. I'm sorry this episode went a little long. It was just a lot going on this episode. But next time, it looks like there's some interesting stuff coming up. So I hope to see you next time. Until then, bye.
And on time.